Kidnapper is one of those tales from the Crypt episodes that doesn't rely on supernatural horror to unnerve its audience. Instead, it thrives on the quiet terror of human behavior. From its first scene, it's clear that what we're witnessing is not simply a crime story, but a study of emotional decay. The kidnapper himself isn't portrayed as a conventional villain. He's a man who believes he's owed something by the world. The camera follows him in suffocating close-ups, capturing the sweat, the uncertainty, the trembling control that barely conceals his inner chaos. His victim becomes his audience, his confessor, his captive reflection. The dialogue reveals a warped desire for connection, as if the kidnapping were less about ransom and more about forcing someone to listen to his pain. The genius of this episode lies in how it traps the viewer inside that warped logic. The setting, a decrepit house surrounded by silence, becomes both a prison and a stage for the kidnapper's fantasies. Every sound, a door creaking, a breath, a heartbeat, feels amplified, as if the building itself were complicit. What strikes me most is how Kidnapper portrays fear as a dynamic force. The victim's terror shifts into strategy. Her fear becomes weaponized. She studies her captor, manipulates his weaknesses, and turns empathy into survival. There's a scene where she listens quietly as he explains his motives, and her eyes reveal calculation beneath panic. It's a subtle moment that shows how human instinct adapts under pressure. Watching it reminded me of the strange empathy we sometimes feel toward villains when their desperation feels too real. In a way, tales from the Crypt often humanized evil by showing that it comes from ordinary emotions taken too far: jealousy, loneliness, rejection. Kidnapper perfects that formula. The music, low and rhythmic, pulses like a nervous system, never allowing peace. The cinematography often frames the characters through barriers: windows, ropes, door frames, emphasizing separation and confinement. Every shot contributes to the growing sense of psychological suffocation. What's brilliant is how the power dynamic keeps shifting. At first, the kidnapper seems in control, but as the story unfolds, his fear of losing that control becomes his undoing. The victim's quiet resistance becomes her weapon. There's a haunting irony in how, by the end, it's unclear who is truly free. The Crypt Keeper's final commentary adds a bitter edge of humor, as if reminding us that human folly is the real horror story. When I think about Kidnapper, I'm reminded of stories of obsession that spiral into tragedy, like watching someone build a cage around their own soul. The episode captures the thin thread that connects love, madness, and control. It's not about monsters lurking in the dark. It's about the darkness that grows in silence when someone believes their pain is more important than another person's freedom. The ending, sharp and merciless, delivers poetic justice, but also sorrow. The kidnapper's fall feels inevitable, like gravity claiming something that should never have tried to defy it. That's the brilliance of Tales from the Crypt. It disguises morality tales in horror, but underneath the shocks and twists, there's always a mirror pointed at the audience. Watching Kidnapper, I felt both disturbed and reflective. It reminded me that horror doesn't need blood to haunt. Sometimes it just needs truth.